So, today in another episode of Things to Avoid, we are going to talk about hybrid vehicles. Many of you all out there have hybrid vehicles, so this episode is going to benefit you all a lot. So let's begin. Now you're rolling down the highway, blasting your radio, listening to some music, and then you realize that you have a low fuel warning on the dashboard. You start to get worried. There is no gas station in miles, and you have no extra gas tank in your trunk to compensate for this. You are going to run dry on gas. What do? Now, in a conventional engine, if a conventional engine runs low on gas or runs out of gas, it's a minor inconvenience. All you need to do is just get your vehicle towed to the nearest gas station, or even if you don't want to go and get your vehicle towed, just get someone to get a tank, a container of gas to you, and just refill your tank and then continue driving. Not a problem. But if you are actually driving a hybrid vehicle and it runs out of gas, it can cause long-lasting engine problems. So for persons who have hybrid vehicles, there's a lot I'm going to talk about that you have to be aware of. So let's get to it. Now, if you have a hybrid vehicle and it runs out of gas, you might assume that a giant battery pack in your vehicle will help you out. Now, most hybrid engines simply weren't designed to operate on electricity alone. They aren't electric cars. Electric cars will utilize a battery pack only, no gas. But in a hybrid, the gas engine and that propulsion battery, we also refer to as a battery pack, they are engineered to work in tandem, not on their own. So what exactly happens when a hybrid runs out of gas? It depends on the make and the model. Different makes and models will handle an empty tank of gas differently. And I'm going to use some examples to get this to you all. So if you're driving a Chevrolet Tahoe or Silverado, or even if it's a Nissan Altima hybrid, the engine will shut down when the gas tank runs dry. You could forget about the possibility of driving that vehicle a little way, a couple miles, in an attempt to get to a gas station. The engine will completely shut off for these models. And it's because these models are built this way to actually, these models are built this way because without gas, the large propulsion battery could sustain damage. There could be significant damage to that propulsion battery. And in order to avoid that, these cars are actually set up to completely shut down when the gas runs out. And this is going to avoid the owners from having to get expensive repairs as a result of the vehicle running out of gas. So it's really a protective mechanism. The vehicle just shut down. But what about a Prius? What about Toyota vehicles? A lot of the hybrids out here are Toyotas. So let's talk about a Toyota Prius. It's a very popular model. Toyota Prius and the Aqua, very popular hybrid vehicles. So, if, for instance, a Prius was to run out of gas, you might be able to get away with driving a couple of miles on an empty tank of gas. The same thing happens with the Lexus HS 250 hybrid. You may be able to drive a certain amount of miles on an empty tank of gas. However, there is a big problem. There's a catch. If the main battery gets too drained, if that battery pack gets too drained, you won't be able to restart the battery even after adding gas to your car. Even getting to a gas station and filling up that gas tank back to what it should be, you may not be able to start your hybrid if the main battery is too drained. And to be able to restore your car back to what it was, you will have to go to the firms or a very experienced technician with equipment to service your hybrid and restore it back to what it was. And this is going to cost you a good amount of money to be able to restore your battery to what it should be and get your car back on track. So the same, whereas in the Altima hybrid and in the Chevrolet Silverado, they actually have a protective kind of scenario where if it runs out of gas, the vehicle shuts down completely. In these Toyota vehicles like the Prius and the Lexus HS, you could drive a distance to get to the gas station, but if the battery is too drained, you will not be able to restart your vehicle, even if you add gas. And another thing is that with some of these hybrids like the Toyotas, driving it to a point where the gas runs out could be a warranty voiding scenario. You could have your warranty voided if you were to drive these vehicles without gas. So take that into consideration. As I said, different vehicles, different models deal with empty tank of gas differently. You have to be very cautious, especially with the Toyota hybrids. They will allow you to do certain things that other models don't allow you to do in the case of an empty tank of gas, but there is a catch. So I always say prevention is better than cure. You should never run your gas tank down to empty. You should set a standard that if it's halfway, consider half tank an empty tank. And every time you reach half tank, refill your tank. Or you could choose quarter tank as the threshold. Quarter tank should be considered empty. And every time you reach the quarter tank, consider it empty, get into that habit and refill your tank. But never try to avoid running your hybrid vehicle out of gas. It could be very costly. So, I'll see you all in the next episode of Things to Avoid. See you all.